Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the Modern OpenGL Tutorial Series, and in this video we are going to learn about OpenGL uniforms. So first of all, what is a uniform in the context of OpenGL? A uniform is basically another way to pass data to our shaders from our CPU to GPU, and it is quite different from the other form of data that we have seen, which is vertex attributes. And it's different in the sense that first of all, uniforms can be used in any stage, so they can be in the vertex stage, in the fragment stage, or in any other stage really. And secondly, uniforms are global, which means that for example, when we are drawing a shape, all of the shader invocations that are made, they will have the same value for that uniform. And thirdly, when we set a value for a uniform, it retains that value until we change it to something else. Until we do that, it just stays at the same value. So to understand how we can use OpenGL uniforms, we are going to actually remove our color attributes, and the reason we are going to do that is that instead of having our color specified in the vertex attributes, we are going to supply that as a uniform so that we can change it, and we have a uniform color for our shape, but we can change the actual color to from our CPU based on something, and we'll see we can, for example, base it on time so that we can fade between two colors, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this attribute for now, and then we are going to also remove the in vec3 color, but we are going to actually paste this here, and we can change this to a uniform vec3 color. And this just means that this is now a uniform variable, and we can set this like a uniform. We're going to remove this line here as well. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go down here, and we obviously don't want the vertex attribute here, so we are going to just comment out this enable vertex attribute array. We are not going to enable the array for the color, enable the color attribute. And with that, we have got that done, but we actually need to set our uniform. So to set a uniform, after we create our program, we can set it quite easily using GL program uniform, and this has many different variants depending on the type of data we want. We can use 3f to supply 3 floats, which means a vec3. We can give it our program as well as the location. Now it is possible to specify the location manually, since we have specified it manually in our shader code as 0, but it's also possible to query the location of a uniform in a program based on its name. You can use GL uniform. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go down here, and we obviously don't want the vertex attribute here, so we are going to just comment out this enable vertex attribute array. We are not going to enable the array for the color, enable the color attribute. So now to actually set this uniform value, we can go ahead and use the GL program uniform function, and this has many different values, many different variants of this function for different data types to decide which type of uniform we need to set. But we are going to do 3f, which means 3 floats, which is the vec3 that we are going to be updating. We can specify our program here. For the location, we are going to say 0, since that's what we set in the shader. But if you want to not use location in the shader, but instead based in a name, it is also possible to do that using GL get uniform location, and you can pass it a name and a program, and it will get that. But since we specified the location manually, we can just say 0 here, and for example, we can set it to have a white color, and this will just set that uniform, and since we are not changing it anywhere, it will retain that white color. So when we run this, you should see we get a white rectangle in the screen. And of course, if I change it to something else, for example like this, you can see that we should get that color changed as well. So yeah, that as you can see works quite nicely. Now of course, this is a single uniform that we are using right now, and to understand this a bit better, we can also use a uniform in our vertex shader. And an interesting thing is, notice what happens if I try to use the same location. So if I go ahead and use a uniform, for example, we can have a float here called scale, and we'll see how to use this in a second. But if I go ahead and run that, you can see that for the linking step, it actually fails because duplicate location is used. So if we are specifying manual locations, we need to make sure they are unique. So we are going to set this, assign the scale to location 1, and we can just multiply this scale value by our position that we get. And what this will allow us to do is it will allow us to scale our rectangle basically depending on whatever we want to do. So we can go here, and where we are updating this, we can also update the this needs to be 1f since it's a single float, and at location 1 we can say, for example, 0.5f, and this means we are going to get a smaller rectangle. Since we are multiplying the positions by that, it will essentially scale it down. Of course, we can also specify, for example, 1.5f to make it slightly larger than the original. So you can see that now we get a larger one here. Now, while this does work dealing manually with vectors and setting them, and if you want to do any calculations or update them, it can get really cumbersome. So we want to use a math library to handle our vectors and calculations and matrices, etc., that we'll understand in the future videos, and we want to do all of those calculations easily, and for that we need to use a math library. And the one we are going to use is the GLM math library. Now, why is we are using that? Well, first of all, it is designed specifically for graphics programming, and we could also say it's specifically for OpenGL, even though you can use it with other graphics APIs as well. And it has a bunch of nice features and setup that makes it really easy to integrate with OpenGL. And secondly, it's also a header only library, which means it's going to actually be quite easy to add, so you should just be able to install it on your system and use it like I'm using here. But of course, if you're using an actual build system, you should use like a package manager or something like GitHub submodules to get that. So anyways, you can include the glm/glm.hpp header, and this will include most of the GLM library here, and we can use it quite easily. So the first thing we'll use the library with is to make our vertex data a bit nice. So currently we are just having an array of floats, which is not very scalable, so we are going to make a struct called vertex here, and we are going to put a position and color member here. And in the GLM namespace there are types which correspond almost exactly to their OpenGL equivalent, so we've got vec2 and vec3, and we are going to change our vertex data to be an array of vertices, and we are going to just organize it to actually have vertices in there, setting the position and color correctly. And now when we are generating our vertex array object, it's quite nice, since instead of saying 5 multiplied by size of float, we can just say size of vertex here, which means we don't have to do any manual stuff. And for the relative offset, now we can use the offset of macro to get from our vertex the of position. And then for the second one, we can go ahead and get the offset of the second one, so we can say offset of vertex, and you can say color here. So that will make it quite nicer. And if I go ahead and just run this to make sure it still works correctly, you can see it does. Alright, so the next thing we'll do is we'll go down here, and I'm going to set up a really simple delta time setup here. If you've done any sort of game programming, this should be pretty familiar. We are going to get a last time, store that. We are going to get a now time each frame, get calculated delta time as the difference of those two times, and update the now time. Then we are going to duration cast our delta time to basically a seconds, but as floats duration, so that we can get our float delta time. And we can't use std chrono seconds here, by the way, because that uses int64 and as the underlying type, not float. We need to use float. Anyways, after we have got this delta time here, we are going to go ahead and basically we are using this to do a little bit of an animation and interpolation between different colors for the color of our square, instead of using a static color. So here I'm going to create a variable called time and set that to 0 initially. Now on each iteration, we are simply going to add the value of delta time to our total accumulating time. And to get our color, we are going to use a function called GLM mix. Now what this function does, it takes to vector values, can also take other types of values, but basically we are going to pass it to vector 3s, and then it will basically linearly interpolate between them or blend between them based on the third value that we provide, which is going to be if it's 0, then it will be the first value, if it's 1, it will be the second, and between them it will blend between them. So for that, we are going to give it our first color, which is going to be red. So I'm going to just give red here. And for the second color, I'm going to give a GLM3. We are going to make that one blue, for example. And for the third value, we need our time, but we want basically we want a ping pong mapping of the time, which means that from 0 to 1 it goes from 0 to 1, but after that it goes from 1 back down to 0, and then it basically repeats that pattern. For that, we can set up like a simple lambda here. We can call this ping pong, and this is going to take a float here, and we can call it x, for example. And to actually process this, we are going to set x to the f mod result of x over 2, since we are going to make the pattern repeat after every 2 unit. Then we are going to go ahead and depending on the value of x, so if x is less than 1, then we want to return x as is. Otherwise we want to return 1 minus x. So for example, if it is 1.5, then we are going to actually not 1, we are going to do 2 minus x, then we are going to return 0.5. So we are going to have that here, and for this we are going to just use ping pong on our time here, like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it, and this will give us our resulting color. And we can move this ping pong from here to up here. Anyways, this will give us our color, and we want to assign this color to our shader, so we are going to use GL uniform 3f, and we are going to give it our location. Well, actually we need to use program uniform 3f, and we are going to give it our program. The location is going to be 0, and for the x we are going to just say color.x, color.y, and color.z. We can also use RGB here, by the way, those are also valid. So color.r means the same thing as color.x. Anyways, if I go ahead and run this, you can see that now we get a animation basically, which goes from red to blue and back, and keeps going that. Of course, this is currently a bit too fast, so we can slow it down by multiplying it by 0.3, for example, so that our time is slowed down. And you can see that it now works quite nicely. So anyways guys, this is going to be pretty much it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, in which we'll implement other things, and we'll understand how matrices work, and we'll then get to understand how to use them for projection and transformation, etc. So next video is going to be a very important video, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and like and subscribe and share this video with other people as well. And bye.